What's going on YouTube? And in today's video, right, I will be simply just talking about my journey and my experience predicated on me making the huge decision to quit my job and pursue becoming a YouTuber, right? Now, mind you, if my energy is really not, captivating and things regarding that, I just recorded a 1 hour long video on my other YouTube channel. It's called That's Dalen. I'm doing reaction videos, but I'm really starting to fall in love with, that channel and what I could potentially create. I'm seeing, that vision. I'm having that vision, and I'm just naturally just being myself. And then, it's either, people gonna like it or they not, right? But I'm being myself, I'm being authentic. So as far as on this channel, I'm most definitely, authentic as far as, my personal life and things that I, experiences, not experiences, experience, excuse me, oh man, experiencing. There we go. Right. So as far as what's going on with my personal life and stuff regarding to that, but right, I got some very good news, in the mail. I checked my mail pretty late today. I've been kind of a bit busy, I guess you can say. Um, just doing thinking, studying. So I checked my mail a bit late. So via me checking it late, I end up getting some very captivating good news. Right. All I can say is, the Most High is, amazing. But we're gonna get, right into, the video, and it not mind you, right? Me making this decision, right, is I really feel like it's going to be the most important decision that I make within my life, currently right now, because in order, for a person to take a chance and but profit off the chance that they take, you gotta be willing to fail, and you gotta risk. You gotta risk really having nothing, right? So you can become something, right? So the time that I was investing into my job and things regarding that, I was not able to really save. It was very hard for me to save. That's all I'm gonna say, right? It was very hard for me to save. Bills. Bills are not gonna stop. Don't really don't matter your situation. Bills are not gonna stop, man. Bills are gonna keep going. That's just a part of you being an adult and stuff regarding that. But I wasn't able to save money. So I'm like, damn, my time to this company is worth $14. My time to this company is worth $14. Now, mind you, at this time I had a very inspiring, young man by the name of Keno. My brother. Me and him built a very strong relationship of, just him being himself and me being myself, and we worked together, right? And it just happened coincidentally we both was striving YouTubers, right? Now, mind you, I've been doing YouTube for over what, three, I think probably like 3 to 4 years. I've been doing YouTube for about 3 to 4 years, right? I had videos, not videos. I had a video that hit 1 million views. Had ended up taking the video down. It wasn't monetized. I couldn't monetize it, and at that pivot, in my life, I was living with my mom. I was living with my mom at that time, but no one believed in me. No one believed in me at that time, right? At that time, I was just solely focused on being able to, create videos and just make money off my phone. I was solely interested in creating videos like that. And then another thing was also proving people wrong. I got captivated in trying to prove my parents wrong as far as how they view what I'm doing, right? They label certain things waste of time. You know they just believe in the traditional 9 to 5 thing. There's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5, right? Nothing at all. But it's like as the world keep getting older and older, the you really don't need a talent to make a lot of money. You really don't need to be that talented to make a lot of money, and that's just the, excuse me, that's just the society that we live in. typically you can profit a lot off attention retention, captivating people's attention, right? You can gain a lot of income simply just by understanding how to captivate people's attention, right? So via the video that I created that hit 1 million views, it was I was in a specific niche, right? I was in a specific YouTube niche, and I made it like, I think it was like a 43-minute long video. So it was gonna be real good for watch hours, right? And for some odd reason, what I noticed, right? Because, excuse me, at that time, I had a notebook. So, I would get on YouTube videos, and I would just write down, certain notes that, certain analytics that I'm looking at as far as my YouTube. I'm just writing it down, look, just studying, like, okay, as far as short form content, my goal spot was like, think like 7 to 10 seconds. That's how far, I was making my videos. But here's another thing. I was spamming certain video. Like if my video get like probably like 0 views in like 30 minutes, I would delete it and put it back up, and then next thing you know, it's getting like 4,000, or like the YouTube algorithm is like it's not it's very weird, right? People that give tips predicated on YouTube success is really randomized. Excuse me, it's really randomized. As far as the analytics and if they're gonna push your stuff or not. Um, is that's just based off my experience. As far as what I have seen as far as my analytics, my YouTube channels and stuff like that. It's really it's really randomized. Views are not always guaranteed, right? I really feel like, as far as becoming a creator, as far as me becoming a creator, I really feel like consistency is going to be the most important thing, and consistency is where revenue and things like that starts to come in. Because if you can create this discipline, this disciplined action of, I'm gonna cut this camera on. I'm just going to talk about my experiences. You know, Someone's going to want to listen to. This man is taking a risk. Now, I can just use me as example. This man is taking a risk as far as where's he going to get income from? How is he going to pay his bills? People are curious in hearing stuff like that. So honestly, I guess you could say I'm a living example. I'm a living testimony. I guess you could say that because you know I mean, I'm still here, right? And I'm not sitting up here pouting, about my situation. Bill's still going, not mind you, me personally, I'm really not the, ask people for money type thing. Because typically, what people like to do is, they will dangle that over your head and utilize it, um, to try to blackmail you into, coercing you to act a certain way, as far as, you giving them some type of, parental treatment. And I'm not really going for that. I would just rather, me dish it out, me pray to the Most High, and me just take that route. Of course, the Most High gonna send you helpers, send me helpers, people that's gonna help me within my life, you know. And I could just really take the time out of my day and say, I appreciate it, and I see the vision, I see my vision that I'm creating on these YouTube channels. I see it, and I can confidently say that, I give it, 'cause me being consistent for what, probably 3-4 more months, man. I'm telling you, man. I'm gonna be a real YouTuber, man. I'm telling you, man. But y'all make sure if you enjoy, my type of randomized content, just me being transparent with my viewers. If you enjoy stuff like this, go ahead and drop a like, comment, subscribe. You let me know, as far as give me some feedback. It's nothing wrong with it, right? It won't hurt. But yeah, I'm out of here.